It started with a simple website, ended with a dead man, a police investigation, and a choice: run or become the monkey everyone wanted to blame. Welcome to Tales by Sam, where every story comes alive. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. And don't forget to subscribe for more unforgettable stories. Ethan had always believed he was different, not smarter than everyone else, not luckier, just stronger in a way that mattered. While others around him chased shortcuts, he held on to something old-fashioned: honesty. But honesty didn't pay rent. The ceiling fan in his small apartment creaked as it spun lazily, pushing around warm air that smelled faintly of medicine and damp walls. The paint had long started peeling, revealing patches of gray concrete beneath. A single bulb flickered overhead, threatening to go out at any moment. Ethan sat at the edge of his bed, staring at a stack of unpaid bills on the small wooden table across the room. Electricity, water, hospital. He exhaled slowly and rubbed his face. From the other side of the thin curtain that separated the room, a cough broke the silence. "Ethan," a weak voice called. He stood immediately. "I'm here, Mom." Margaret lay on the narrow bed, her once lively face now pale and drawn. The illness had taken weight from her, energy from her, and replaced it with a quiet fragility that scared him more than anything else. "You didn't go to work today?" she asked softly. "I will," he said quickly. "Just needed to fix something first." She studied him for a moment, as if she could see through the lie, but she said nothing. Instead, she smiled. That smile hurt him more than any accusation ever could. The cyber cafe was already buzzing when Ethan arrived. Rows of outdated computers hummed loudly, their fans fighting against heat and overuse. The air smelled like dust, sweat, and cheap perfume. Customers filled the seats, students typing assignments, job seekers editing CVs, and a few quiet figures who barely spoke, but stayed for hours. Ethan moved from system to system with practiced ease. "Bro, this one no day open," a customer complained. Ethan crouched beside the computer, fingers flying across the keyboard. "Give it a second," he said calmly. Within minutes, the system came back to life. "You too, Sabi," the man said, impressed. Ethan gave a small smile. "Not my job." But deep down, he knew his skills were worth far more than this. He just didn't know how to turn them into something better. Later that afternoon, the cafe grew quieter. That was when Ethan noticed him. Lucas. He sat in the far corner, relaxed, scrolling through his phone like someone with no worries in the world. His clothes were simple but clean, his posture confident. But it wasn't his appearance that caught Ethan's attention. It was the sound. Ping, ping, ping. Transaction alerts. Ethan glanced over unintentionally and froze. The numbers were unreal. Hundreds of thousands, then millions. His stomach tightened. Lucas looked up and caught his gaze. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Lucas smiled. "Something wrong?" he asked. Ethan quickly looked away. "No." Lucas stood and walked over slowly, hands in his pockets. "You fixed that system fast," he said. "You're good." Ethan shrugged. "Just experience." Lucas leaned slightly closer. "Experience doesn't pay you what you deserve here." Ethan didn't respond. "You know it," Lucas continued. "I know it." Silence stretched between them. Then Lucas lowered his voice. "You're struggling, aren't you?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "I'm fine." Lucas chuckled softly. "Everyone says that when they're not." Another silence. Then, "Just one job," Lucas said. Ethan looked at him. "No stress. No violence. No risk," Lucas continued. "Just a click." "What kind of job?" Ethan asked carefully. Lucas glanced around, then pulled a chair closer. "Something you're already good at," he said. "Building a website." Ethan frowned. "For what?" Lucas's smile returned, but this time it felt different. "Opportunity." That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. The room felt smaller than usual, hotter. The sound of his mother's breathing filled the silence, uneven and fragile. On the table beside him, his phone screen lit up. A message from an unknown number. Lucas, 48 hours is a long time, or a very short one, depending on how you use it. Ethan swallowed hard. He glanced at the hospital receipt lying beside the phone. Balance due. Immediate payment required. His chest tightened. He stood and walked slowly to his mother's bedside. She looked peaceful in her sleep, but he could see the strain in her face, even then. "What am I supposed to do?" he whispered. There was no answer, only silence. The next morning came too quickly. Ethan didn't speak as he got dressed, didn't eat, didn't think. He just moved. By noon, he was standing in front of a modern apartment building he had never noticed before. Lucas opened the door before he could knock. "I knew you'd come," he said. Ethan stepped inside. The difference was immediate. Cool air, bright lights, expensive furniture. Everything Ethan's life wasn't. "You made the right choice," Lucas said, walking ahead. Ethan followed slowly. "I haven't agreed to anything yet." Lucas stopped and turned. "But you will." He handed Ethan a laptop. "Show me what you can do." Ethan hesitated, then sat. The screen glowed in front of him, clean and empty, waiting. "Investment platform," Lucas said casually. "Make it look real. Professional. Something people can trust." Ethan's fingers hovered over the keyboard. "This is fraud," he said quietly. Lucas didn't deny it. "People want to believe," he said. "You're just giving them something to believe in." Ethan's heart pounded. He thought about his mother, the hospital, the bills, the time he didn't have. His fingers slowly touched the keys. Line by line, code by code, the lie began to take shape. Hours passed. The website looked perfect. Too perfect. Ethan leaned back, staring at what he had created. "This will ruin people," he said. Lucas stepped closer. "Or save someone you love." Ethan closed his eyes. For a brief moment, the world felt still. Then, he pressed enter. The system processed the command. The site went live. Lucas smiled. And just like that, Ethan crossed a line he could never uncross. At first, it didn't feel real. The money came in quietly, like a whisper. One alert, then another, then 10 more. Ethan sat in front of his laptop, staring at the screen as numbers refreshed faster than he could process them. Deposits flowed into the system from different accounts, different names, different places. 50,000 Nigerian Nairas, 120,000 Nigerian Nairas, 300,000 Nigerian Nairas. His heartbeat quickened. "Relax," Lucas said from behind him, sipping a drink like it was just another normal day. "This is just the beginning." Ethan didn't reply. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, frozen between disbelief and fear. By the third day, everything had changed. The hospital bills were cleared. Every last naira. Ethan stood at the payment desk, watching the nurse print the receipt. "Everything has been settled," she said with a polite smile. For a moment, he couldn't speak. "Are you okay?" she asked. Ethan nodded slowly. Yeah, I'm fine." But he wasn't, because as relief flooded in, something else followed. Something heavier. Margaret's recovery was almost immediate. With proper treatment, good medication, and constant care, her strength began to return. The color slowly came back to her face. Her voice grew steadier, her smile brighter. One evening, she reached for Ethan's hand. "You've done so much for me," she said softly. "I don't know how you managed it, but I'm proud of you." Ethan forced a smile. "Just working harder," he replied. The lie sat bitter in his mouth. She squeezed his hand gently. "Don't overwork yourself. Money isn't everything." Ethan nodded, but he couldn't meet her eyes. Back at Lucas's apartment, the operation had grown. What started as a single website had turned into something bigger. Multiple versions, different designs, new investment plans, fake testimonials, fake success stories. Ethan had built them all, and people believed them. Humans are predictable, Lucas said one night, scrolling through user activity. You just need to know what they want to hear. What they want to hear isn't always the truth, Ethan muttered. Lucas smirked. Truth doesn't sell. Hope does. Ethan looked at the screen again. Hundreds of active users. Hundreds of people trusting something that didn't exist. Weeks passed. Money stopped feeling like money. It became numbers, digits, data. Until one night, something changed. Ethan was reviewing transactions when he noticed a message attached to a deposit. Most people didn't leave messages, but this one did. This is my last savings. I trust this will change my life. God bless whoever created this platform. Ethan froze. His chest tightened as he reread the words. Last savings. Trust. God bless. His fingers slowly moved away from the keyboard. Lucas, he called quietly. Lucas didn't look up. Do you ever read these messages? No. You should. Lucas sighed, clearly uninterested. I told you, don't get attached. Ethan turned the screen toward him. This isn't just money. These are real people. Lucas finally looked, then shrugged. And Ethan stared at him in disbelief. And that's all you have to say. What do you want me to do? Lucas replied calmly. Return it. Ethan didn't answer, because part of him wished they could. That night, Ethan couldn't focus. The message replayed in his head over and over again. So he did something he hadn't done before. He clicked on the user's profile. Name, Daniel Brooks. Age, 52. Occupation, retired teacher. There was even a photo. A simple man. Kind face. Tired eyes. Ethan leaned back slowly. This wasn't just a username anymore. It was a person. The next day, things got worse. The platform was trending. More traffic. More deposits. More lies. Lucas was excited. We're scaling, he said. This is where real money comes in. But Ethan felt sick. Every new alert felt heavier than the last. Every deposit felt like a weight added to his chest. Then came the news. It was playing on a small TV in the corner of the cafe. Ethan wasn't paying attention at first, until he heard the words, online investment scam. His head snapped up. The reporter continued. A 52-year-old man has reportedly taken his own life after losing his entire savings to a fraudulent investment platform. Ethan's heart stopped. The screen showed a photo. Daniel Brooks. The same face. The same tired eyes. Now gone. Ethan's legs felt weak. No, he whispered. The report continued, but he couldn't hear it anymore. The world around him faded into silence. That evening, Ethan stormed into Lucas's apartment. You said nobody gets hurt, he shouted. Lucas looked up, annoyed. What's your problem? Ethan pointed at the screen. A man is dead. He used our platform. Lucas's expression didn't change. Then he made a bad decision. Ethan stepped back, stunned. A bad decision? That's what you call it. Lucas stood up slowly. Listen carefully, he said, his tone colder now. You're not responsible for people's choices. Ethan shook his head. We created the lie. And they chose to believe it. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Then Lucas stepped closer. This is the real world, Ethan, he said quietly. People win. People lose. Ethan's voice dropped. And what are we? Lucas held his gaze. We're the reason we don't lose. Ethan turned away, running his hands through his hair. This has to stop, he said. Lucas laughed softly. No, he corrected. You have to stop feeling. Ethan looked back at him, and for the first time, he truly saw him. Not as a friend, not as an opportunity, but as something else entirely. Cold, calculated, Dangerous. Lucas walked past him and picked up his phone. "You're finally understanding the game," he said. Ethan frowned. "What game?" Lucas paused, then smiled slightly. "There's always a monkey." Ethan's stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" Lucas turned slowly. "It means when everything falls apart," he said. "Someone has to take the blame." A long silence followed. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. "Who?" he asked quietly. Lucas didn't answer. He didn't need to, because in that moment, Ethan understood. That night, sleep never came. Ethan sat in the darkness, staring at his laptop. The same screen that once felt like opportunity, now felt like a weapon. The money in his account no longer looked like success. It looked like evidence, like guilt, like blood. And for the first time since this began, Ethan realized something terrifying. Getting in was easy, but getting out, that might cost him everything. The fear didn't arrive all at once. It crept in, quiet, unseen, unavoidable. At first, it was just whispers, small changes in Lucas's behavior, shorter conversations, more phone calls taken in private, more time spent deleting files, clearing logs, moving money. Then came the silence, heavy, suspicious, watching. Ethan felt it everywhere, in the way Lucas looked at him, in the way the apartment suddenly felt less like a workspace and more like a trap. One evening, Ethan walked in to find the room unusually quiet. No music, no TV, just Lucas, seated calmly, scrolling through his phone. "You're late," Lucas said without looking up. "I had things to do," Ethan replied. Lucas nodded slowly. "Of course." Something about his tone felt off. Ethan dropped his bag carefully. "What's going on?" Lucas didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stood up and walked toward the window, looking out over the city lights. "They're getting closer," he said. Ethan's chest tightened. "Who?" Lucas turned. "The police." Silence filled the room. Ethan swallowed. "How bad is it?" Lucas's expression remained unreadable. "Bad enough." The next few days moved fast. Too fast. Accounts were shut down overnight. Servers disappeared. Hard drives were wiped clean. Contacts stopped responding. Numbers went dead. The empire they had built was vanishing, piece by piece. "We need to disappear for a while," Lucas said, packing a small bag. Ethan watched him. "Disappear." "Lay low. Different locations. No contact for a few weeks." Ethan frowned. "And then what?" Lucas paused, then slowly zipped his bag. "Then things go back to normal." Ethan shook his head. "This is not normal." Lucas looked at him sharply. "It is for me." That night, the truth finally surfaced. Not through words, but through silence. Ethan sat alone, staring at his laptop, the last device that hadn't been destroyed yet. Curiosity got the better of him. Or maybe it was instinct. He opened a hidden folder. Then another. And another. Files he had never seen before. Documents. Records. Plans. His name. Everywhere. Ethan's heart started pounding. Transaction logs linked directly to him. System access trails pointing to his IP. Backup files signed under his credentials. Even recorded clips of him working. Carefully stored. Carefully organized. Carefully prepared. For one purpose. Ethan whispered the words before he even realized it. "I'm the monkey." The door behind him creaked open. He turned slowly. Lucas stood there, watching. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Lucas stepped inside and closed the door. "I was wondering when you'd find out," he said calmly. Ethan stood up, his hands trembling. "You set me up." Lucas tilted his head slightly. "I prepared for possibilities. I trusted you. And that was your first mistake." The words hit harder than any slap. Ethan took a step back. "All of this, from the beginning?" Lucas didn't hesitate. "Yes." Silence. Thick, unforgiving. You needed money, Lucas continued. You had skills. You were desperate. It made everything easier. Ethan's voice cracked. So I was just what? A tool. Lucas met his eyes. A necessary one. Anger surged through Ethan, raw and uncontrollable. You're going to let me take the fall for everything, he demanded. Lucas didn't flinch. If it comes to that, yes. Ethan laughed bitterly. You're unbelievable. No, Lucas replied quietly. I'm realistic. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. Every second stretched like it might snap. You don't have to do this, Ethan said. We can fix it. We can tell the truth, together. Lucas's expression hardened. There's no together. That was the moment everything broke. Ethan didn't argue anymore. Didn't shout. Didn't beg. Because deep down, he already knew. There was no saving this. No rewriting it. No escaping it. Only one choice remained. At dawn, Ethan sat alone in the apartment. Lucas was gone. Vanished without a trace. Just like the others. But Ethan hadn't run. Instead, he opened his laptop one last time. And this time, he wasn't building lies. He was collecting truth. Every file, every message, every transaction, every name, including Lucas's. It took hours. But when he was done, he finally closed the laptop and exhaled. The police station was quieter than he expected. A single officer looked up as Ethan walked in. Can I help you? He asked. Ethan nodded. Yes, he said. His voice was steady now. Clear. Certain. I'm here to confess. The investigation moved quickly after that. Faster than anyone expected. Because Ethan didn't hold back. He gave them everything. The full network. The structure. The system. The truth. Within days, arrests were made. Locations were raided. Accounts were frozen. And Lucas was found. The trial was long. Painful. Public. Every detail exposed. Every mistake laid bare. Ethan didn't deny anything. Didn't defend himself. Didn't hide. He accepted it. All of it. Because for the first time, he understood the cost of his choices. Months later, Ethan sat in a quiet prison cell. The walls were bare. The air still. But his mind was finally at peace. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Then stopped. Ethan. He looked up. Margaret stood there. Stronger now. Healthier. Alive. Tears filled her eyes as she approached. They sat across from each other, separated by cold metal bars. I wish I had known, she said softly. Ethan shook his head. I'm glad you didn't. She reached for his hands. You made a terrible mistake, she said. He nodded. But you told the truth, she continued. And that matters. Ethan's eyes filled with emotion. It doesn't erase anything, he said. No, she agreed. But it means you didn't lose yourself completely. After she left, Ethan sat in silence, thinking, reflecting, understanding. Outside those walls, the world would keep moving. People would still chase money, still believe lies, still look for someone to blame. And somewhere, another monkey would be chosen. Ethan leaned back slowly and closed his eyes, because now he knew the truth. In a world built on deception, everyone wants a monkey, someone to carry the blame, someone to take the fall, someone to destroy so others can escape. But real strength is standing still when running would be easier, is telling the truth when lies would save you, is accepting the consequences when you could hide, because sometimes the only way to stop the cycle is to refuse to let another monkey die in your place. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more powerful stories.